This is Nick.
This is Jack.
It's Thursday, the new Friday, January 5th, and today's pod is the best one yet.
It is the new Friday. But Nick, can you tell us that story about the dogs?
Oh, you talking about the dog situation this morning, Jack?
What happened?
So I'm going for a walk. I'm just walking around. I'm walking by Alta Plaza Park, 6 in the morning in San Francisco. You know what I see?
What?
A couple dogs off their leash. Not a big deal. But then you know what I notice?
What?
Those dogs were coyotes.
I still can't believe San Francisco has like marine mammals on one side, wild animals on the other side.
I almost lost a hand, Jack. What's our first story today?
You can't afford a house or a boat, but what about a sailing condo?
Storylines is the startup that just launched a cruise ship that you live on forever.
For our second story, you are coughing, you are sneezing, you are wheezing after the holidays.
But Johnson & Johnson's Tylenol has never felt healthier.
And our third and final story, 1 out of 3 Americans watches TV with Roku.
1 out of 3 of you are binging on a Roku.
Because in the game of living rooms, you win or you die. That's right, I said it. So it was dramatic. But Yetis, before we hit that wonderful mix of stories,
Honestly, Jack, it does feel like a Friday. I love this mix, man.
there's one thing you should do to start the year.
Yetis, when you hear what we're about to tell you, you are going to want to ask for a raise.
Because we just got the 2023 list of the world's richest pets.
Yeah, and doggies got too much money. Cats have too much cash.
The publication All About Cats just published the list, and they calculated a pet's net worth based on their Insta marketability.
Apparently, Fido is on the Forbes list these days.
Have you seen Doug the Pug over on Instagram?
Jack, Doug the Pug, he's worth $1.5 million.
But what caught our attention was number 3 on the rich pet list.
Jack, who is number 3 on the rich pet list?
It was Taylor Swift's cat.
Get this. Olivia Benson, T. Swift's cat, is one of Taylor Swift's 3 cats.
She's just one of 3 of them, and she's worth $97 million.
$97 million for a feline with a following.
This cat's CV will make you feel like you're a caged sloth doing nothing.
Can we talk about the cat accomplishments over at Taylor Swift's cat?
Taylor's cat, Olivia, has appeared in TV commercials, movies. She snagged her own shoe deal.
Do you want to talk to Taylor Swift's cat? Because you can't. And why is that, Jack?
She has her own agent.
Sorry, Taylor's cat can't come to the phone right now.
But Taylor Swift's pet isn't even the richest of all the pets.
No, get this. Right, meow? The most valuable pet on earth is Gunther the dog.
Gunter, actually, because he's German. In fact, this is a German Shepherd worth $500 million.
That's more than 500 million Deutschmarks. This dog is almost a unicorn.
But Gunter is actually a trust fund puppy, Nick.
Because Gunther the dog has an inherited $500 million from his parents.
Gunter hasn't worked a day in his life. The money was given to him.
Gunther just sits there and smells and licks himself.
Yetis, we gotta update our New Year's resolution. All of us.
Besties, Jack and I have a brand new New Year's resolution as of today.
Become a famous person's cat.
That's how you make it. Let's hit our 3 stories.
15 years before this song, 2 boys from the Northeast met in a dorm. They had an idea that caused a cultural storm. It's the best one yet, but the best is the norm. Jack, Nick, that's it. I don't even think they need to practice. 50%, that's a fat tip. T-Boy City on your at-list. If you know, cause we ready to go. We can't wait no more, so just start the show. Start the show.
For our first story, the hottest selling product in the United States right now, it's not Beanie Babies and it is not Furbies. What is it, Jack?
It's cold, cough, and flu medicines.
Yeah, that is why Tylenol and Motrin have powered the greatest streak in the entire stock market.
But first, do you need a tissue, Nick?
Can we offer you a Kleenex? Guy gotta drop a Gesundheit. Yetis, we can hear you sniffling from here, and this is a one-way microphone situation. That sounded more like you pulled a hammy, Jack. Besties, everyone, all of us, each person that you know, they came home from the holidays with a little extra gift this year. And what was it?
You came back with Gam Gam's cough. Great Gam Gam.
Sorry, Pop. I think I have the black lung.
According to the Financial Times, over-the-counter cold and flu medicine sales have just hit a record high.
What was the jump in sneeze syrups out there, Jack?
30% jump from last year in cold and cough medicine.
Oh, and we have all done the nighttime cough cocktail. Everyone knows how to make a cough cocktail every night.
You pop a Tylenol, 2 Motrin IB, some Dayquil, some NyQuil, and a Band-Aid for good measure.
Hey, bartender, would it kill you to drop a hint of Robitussin in this thing for me?
Well, Johnson & Johnson is the biggest over-the-counter drug company in the United States. It's possibly the most successful thing out of New Jersey.
That's a little offensive to our buddies, singer-songwriter Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, but we're going to run with it, Jack.
John Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I think...
Frank Sinatra.
Well, Bon Jovi is a Yeti. Johnson & Johnson, worth $500 billion. That's 2 Facebooks. They make every ingredient in your nighttime cough cocktail.
So Johnson & Johnson's formerly seasonal drug sales have turned into a holiday tradition.
Yeah, because thanks to the pandemic, the triple-demic, and just about every other demic out there, no family get-together is complete without doing a pharmacy run for an over-the-counter cough medicine.
J&J has sold so much children's Tylenol this December.
So much children's Tylenol.
There's literally a nationwide shortage. I had to go to like 6 pharmacies to find some for Wilder.
Now, here's what we find fascinating about this story. Johnson & Johnson may have the greatest streak in the entire stock market right now.
Hold on. Before we talk about the streak, we should point out that Johnson & Johnson is one of the few stocks that actually rose in the past year.
Jack and I actually noticed something kind of funny about Johnson & Johnson.
In each of the last 4 earnings calls, which were all good earnings quarters, Johnson & Johnson credited the good results to the same thing.
They literally said the same words in each earnings call. Here's what they said. Our results are primarily driven by growth in over-the-counter medicine.
Over-the-counter drugs you don't need a prescription for.
Translation, Johnson & Johnson is selling crazy amounts of Tylenol.
They're not booming because of COVID vaccine sales or cancer drugs or biopharmaceutical biotech.
Johnson & Johnson is being driven by your nighttime cough cocktails.
And that has contributed to this incredible streak.
Get this. For 60 straight years, Johnson & Johnson has increased their dividend every single year.
That's a lot of years and a lot of dividends.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our cough cocktail buddies over at Johnson & Johnson?
Wall Street bows to dividend dynasties.
Yetis, Wall Street bows to dividend dynasties. Dividends, they are an old school stock market perk, kind of like that check you get every Christmas from Gam Gam.
A dividend. It's a cash payment that comes from a mature money-making company to each and every one of the shareholders.
Your young growth stocks out there like Snapchat, they don't pay dividends yet, but 137-year-old Johnson & Johnson, they pay dividends.
They make a lot of profits, and they pass those profits on as dividends to shareholders, and they've raised that dividend every year for 60 years.
Jack and I jumped in T-Boy style. There are only a few other blue chip old school companies with longer dividend streaks.
No one talks about this 60-year streak, but we had to sit down, stand up, pop a Flonase, and sit back down again.
Because Johnson & Johnson stock's most attractive feature, that each share gets a cash check of $1.13 every single quarter.
Every share gets $1.13 every quarter.
And that's why this cough syrup company may have the greatest streak on all of Wall Street. For our second story, this one's wild. The newest apartments that you can buy, they're actually on a cruise ship.
If we can convert a cruise ship into an apartment building, then there's hope for our housing crisis.
Okay, Yetis, you know what the problem with the housing crisis is? Jack and I have been thinking about it, and we realized it's because we're all looking for houses on land.
It's a tough market for homes on land.
Yeah.
The answer may be at sea.
Well, who just launched But Storylines, a company that's been in like stealth mode for 6 years, building a residential community at sea.
In a shipyard in Croatia.
Right now.
They are building a carnival-style cruise ship.
But here's the key. That cruise ship is filled with not cabins and water slides, but permanent apartments for full-time residents.
Oh, captain, my landlord.
Jack, meet my new roommate. Call him Ishmael.
You're not on the ship for 7 days. You buy an apartment for life.
Yeah, you don't say hello. You don't say good morning. You say ahoy. These apartments are small. They're as small as 300 square feet. Some of them are as big as 2,000 square feet with 4 bedrooms.
They sell for as low as $300,000 or as high as $8 million.
And they've already sold half the units on this thing.
The ship embarks on its maiden voyage in 2025, and it's expected to have 1,000 residents living permanently on board at sea.
Okay, so Jack, you buy an apartment, and then your apartment is going to travel around the world on the ocean over a 3-year period.
Yeah, there's an itinerary. You spend like 3 to 5 days at the world's like touristy ports.
Okay, we have to really reflect on what this means. It means you could get off the ship in Rome, leave your apartment, and then 3 months later meet up with the ship in Thailand and get back into your apartment.
Do whatever you want for those 3 months, and you can give the keys to your apartment, which is on a vessel,
Yes.
to your buddy Timmy.
Interesting.
And Timmy can like crash in the cabin that you own on the ship for those 3 months that you're away.
Now, Yetis, here's what Jack and I find fascinating about this story. You look at this and you see a cruise ship, but the business model is completely different.
No, this is not hospitality like the cruise industry. This is a real estate business.
It's real estate.
but with no land.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're not going to be sipping pina coladas 24/7 on this thing. There is no unlimited shrimp buffet for you to stuff your face into.
No, on this boat, you're going to live, work, or retire there.
That's the key. This is basically a work remote play, right, Jack?
A tech employee from Meta bought a 1-bedroom apartment on this vessel. He's going to work remotely from everywhere.
He is. And that's because there's also a bank, a office, a library, and a school on this boat. It's not a cruise ship.
Which leads to the main revenue source for this vessel. It's not tickets, it's a subscription.
Yeah, it's all inclusive everything because you're on a ship and you have life needs to work and live there.
Residents are going to pay $5,000 a month in addition to the cost of the apartment, so that you don't have to go find a dry cleaner in the port of Portofino.
Yeah, you got a dry cleaner on board who's going to drop off your clothes on the starboard bow. So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Storylines?
A solution to our real estate crisis is real estate conversion.
Yetis, the post-pandemic crisis in real estate right now, it's that there are not enough homes, but we got too many offices.
Commercial real estate hasn't recovered from the pandemic, but apartments are overstuffed and unaffordable.
Okay, the average home price in the United States, we just got this data, $540,000. That's just too much for most working Americans.
Now, one solution is to build more homes.
Yeah, but that's just not happening fast enough.
Another solution is conversion.
That is to repurpose empty spaces into residential homes.
Convert empty commercial into full residential.
So the way Jack and I see it, what Storylines is doing to cruise ships is testing the limits of real estate conversion.
If a cruise ship can become an apartment complex, why can't an office building?
Now, a word about our sponsor, Robinhood.
You can do just about anything from your phone, but some industries, they've just been slow to
The
move.
finance industry was slow to move from phone to computer, and then from computer to app.
Robinhood wasn't. It's the Silicon Valley-based brokerage that's been updating apps since it was born in 2015.
Using the Robinhood app for your stocks and crypto is almost as easy as downloading it.
So you can invest at your pace on your terms by downloading the Robinhood app.
If you're not investing on Robinhood yet, to get started, go to Robinhood.com/Tboy and choose your free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Limitations apply.
Stocks are offered by Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC.
Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto.
All investments involve risk.
By the way, this podcast is not owned by or part of Robinhood, and we are not employees of Robinhood.
For our third and final story, Roku, the little streaming dongle that could, is making its first ever TV.
Because the key to your life may be your living room.
Get this, Yetis. 1 out of 3 TVs in the United States, what are they running on, Jack?
Roku software.
Roku software is powering 1 out of 3 of our TVs.
America spends 3 hours a day on average watching TV, and Roku controls a third of that binging.
A third of our binging is controlled by one small company called Roku.
So many of the popular TV brands you see at Best Buy or Walmart, they run with pre-installed Roku software.
Here's the funny thing. Roku is sick and tired of being in the background. Like, they don't want to be a backup dancer anymore. They want to be Whitney.
They want you to see the brand Roku, so they just announced the Roku TV.
No more Destiny's Child. They're going full Beyonce on the TV industry, Jack.
Roku is launching this year a full line of 11 different televisions.
Yeah, not just software, not just dongles. We're talking an entire TV that they just announced at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas.
Like 55 inches or whatever. A TV.
Now, Yetis, here's what Jack and I find fascinating about this story. This isn't just like some old product launch. This isn't just some new thing from a new company.
This announcement means that Roku is the first ever end-to-end binge company.
The first ever end-to-end binge company. Because Roku, it actually was invented at Netflix as a streaming dongle 14 years ago.
But then Netflix is like, we're not going to do hardware. Let's spin this out. We'll let them be their own company.
And then Roku started dominating streaming by pioneering software in smart TVs.
That's what they did for 10 years, until 2018, when they launched speakers for TVs too.
Until 2020, when they launched their own content for your TVs too.
You remember when Quibi failed miserably at the beginning of the pandemic?
It's been nice. We remember you well. Rest in peace.
Roku acquired all of Quibi's video library and started their own movie studio with it.
Jack, that new Weird Al biopic that you and I were talking about?
Weird Al Yankovic.
It's going to be a fantastic...
It's a Roku original.
We watched the trailer. Roku made that movie.
So Roku now makes the streaming technology, the speakers, the shows,
oh my God,
and the TV that you watch it on.
Ipso facto, Roku just became the first ever vertically integrated binge company.
They do everything but the electricity.
So, Jack, what's the takeaway for our buddies over at Roku?
There's an aggressive battle happening in tech for your living room.
Yetis, where there are eyeballs, there are dollar signs. Your phone, your tablet, your TV, that's where the eyeballs are.
And the living room TV is the most important screen in your home.
Because the living room is the venue for consumption, for attention, for time spent. It all happens through your TV.
That's why Amazon spends so much money on their Fire TV device.
Because it can show shopping ads while you're watching.
And that's why Google has TV dongles and TV software.
And it's why Apple's been doing Apple TV too.
Nike just partnered with Netflix because you now work out from your living room as well.
And Roku wants to fully own your living room TV.
Because the key to your life may be your living room.
Jack, can you pass a Kleenex and whip up the takeaways for us for the new Friday?
Johnson & Johnson sales are booming thanks to cough medicine and Tylenol.
Wall Street, they bow to dividend dynasties.
For our second story, Storylines is building a cruise ship for full-time residents.
Because the solution to our real estate crisis could be real estate conversion.
And our third and final story is Roku. They just launched their first TV, becoming an end-to-end streaming company.
Yetis, your living room, it's the battleground for tech. Now, time for the best fact yet. This one sent in by Jack and me because we wanted to whip up a little trivia for you.
All right, trivia. What are the only two companies with a perfect AAA credit rating?
The only two companies with a perfect seamless does not get any better. They're showing off AAA credit rating.
One is Microsoft.
Microsoft, step on down, not too shabby.
The other is Johnson & Johnson.
Johnson & Johnson. Honestly, we discovered this when we jumped in T-Boy style, and we're covering the story today.
Credit ratings are about consistency and reliability.
And what is more consistent than Johnson & Johnson's 60-year streak of increasing dividends?
60 years of paying shareholders more cash.
Yetis, when you're a dividend dynasty, you get a AAA credit rating.
This is not a paid ad for Johnson & Johnson.
Call your doctor if this episode lasts longer than 22 minutes. Yetis, you look fantastic today. And actually, if you've got the best fact yet, or if you just want like a birthday shout out on the pod, you should hit us up. How do you hit us up, Jack?
We got Google Forms with links in the episode description.
Yeah, Jack and I, we want to get you on the pod.
Until then, Nick and I will see you tomorrow.
Can't wait. And before we go, happy birthday to Yeti Cade Hyde, turning 25 over in Salt Lake City.
And happy birthday to Courtney Picanso, first birthday as a mom down in Westford, Mass.
Just outside Boston. And Winifred Tung, happy birthday over in Houston.
And happy birthday to Naman Roddy, belated birthday down in Boston.
Just outside Boston.
And to anyone else who's celebrating something today, make it a T-Boy.
Celebrate the wins.
This is Jack. I own stock of Roku, Amazon, and Netflix. And Nick and I both own stock of Apple and Robinhood.
Now, a word about our sponsor, Robinhood.
Jack, rule number one about a kitchen renovation, tell your friends about your kitchen renovation.
We know the cabinets are expensive.
Well, in the pandemic, a lot of companies renovated their businesses, focusing on apps and digital.
Robinhood didn't have to. It was built digital from the start.
Robinhood's mobile-first and intuitive design makes investing a little easier for every stage of your investing journey.
Whether you want to trade options, ETFs, or stocks through Robinhood Financial, or buy some Bitcoin on Robinhood Crypto, you can do all that right on the Robinhood app.
If you're not investing on Robinhood yet, to get started, go to Robinhood.com/TBoy and choose your free stock.
That's Robinhood.com/TBOY. Limitations apply.
Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. All investments involve risk.
By the way, this podcast is not owned by or part of Robinhood, and we are not employees of Robinhood.